Hello and welcome to another episode of Jump In, a Festival of Motoring show presented by Westbank. I'm joined in studio today by George Minnie, CEO of AutoTrader, and Konstantin. Thank you for coming back. Konstantin is the CEO of Messe Frankfurt, the organization behind Festival of Motoring. How are you doing, guys?
Good, thank you, very good.
Good. Well, let's kick off. Konstantin, Festival of Motoring 2018, I think you guys as organizers, the objective is always to make the show bigger and better.
In previous episodes we already talked about the operational upgrades we've done for the show. But one of the things that we feel very passionate about in 2018 is also to introduce the petrol heads to topics of the future, and with a whole new tech zones, TechTalks, to basically start putting a spotlight on those kind of topics.
George, I'm going to jump to you here. As CEO of AutoTrader, this is obviously something that you guys are involved in. What is the fit with AutoTrader as a brand and sponsoring the kind of the Tech Talks and the Tech Zone?
AutoTrader is part of the automotive industry in South Africa, and whatever happens to that automotive industry, we become integrally in the middle of. Our job or partnership with Messe Frankfurt is to be the media partner and to try and spread the message that Messe Frankfurt is bringing to the show.
Well, we know that Festival of Motoring is the premium motor show in South Africa, and AutoTrader obviously a premium brand that's been around for 25 years. Since you guys stopped the magazine, the transformation to digital, it's a natural fit for you guys to be involved in the tech segment.
Yeah, and what's even more exciting is, we turned a print business into a digital business and remained the market leader. And what Messe Frankfurt is doing in this particular show is painting a picture of the future, which is an exciting change. So I think the fit is perfect.
Konstantin, can you give us a little bit of information around what's going to be in the tech zone?
We believe that this automotive industry is going to see a big transformation in the next couple of years, and it's important to introduce those topics to the South African industry. And so what we're going to see in this tech zone is obviously several OEMs that are in the forefront of this development are going to showcase how the future is going to look like when it comes to vehicles, but also the technology in the back end. And then in parallel, we're going to have the Tech Talks, where we basically, in an entertaining way, starting to discuss those things. So we're going to have one panel discussion where we have like the die-hard petrol heads talking about the die-hard electro heads, as you mentioned, and basically battle it out. Or we're going to have topics to talk about, like, how with OEM MDs and marketing directors, what does that mean for the automotive industry?
George, I'm going to throw it to you here, because you guys have already seen that in terms of how consumers are actually shopping for vehicles. I mean, the shopping journey has ultimately moved online, hasn't it? Well, the forefront of the shopping journey.
I mean, 5, 6, 7 years back, we used to shop for cars in a very offline format, like you would shop for houses today on a Sunday. You'd go from show house to show house to show house. And people used to shop like that on a Saturday. So Saturdays were car shopping days, Sundays were house shopping days.
Yeah.
And consumers used to visit up to 5 dealerships, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, probably more, on a Saturday morning. So it was really a different experience. It was an outing like going to the shops, whereas today, the average consumer visits 1, maybe 2 dealerships before they buy a car. Everything else, the actual journey itself hasn't changed, but all of that activity is now happening on the internet. Yeah. So there's been a fundamental shift in how people shop for cars.
How do you see the next 10 years? I mean, do you think the uptake of electric and hybrids and, plugging your car in versus putting petrol into it, how quickly do you think that's going to happen?
So I think it's a difficult question to answer.
Sure.
If it were up to me, tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, how's that?
Done.
But I think it's a little bit more difficult than that. I think there's a few barriers in the way, and those need to be discussed and brought up and brought to the table in order for the country to really move this forward. I mean, one of the biggest things that we see on our platform is that diesel vehicles are very, very popular. But we know that some European countries have put a ban on them sometime in the future. Another big thing that probably will help or drive the electrification is the high petrol prices.
Yeah.
So while it's uncomfortable, it could very well be a good thing for electrification.
I just wanted to add, also going one step back, when we talk about technology, we also have to acknowledge that we're not only talking about the technology of the vehicle itself. And I think you alluded to it when you talked about the journey of the consumers now shopping online, and we see it in every industry associated with the automotive industry that innovations are coming out. We talked earlier with Ghana from Westbank, talking about the financing process. There are going to be new technology that need to be applied when it comes to qualifying customers and visitors, because the way people are employed these days are different. Like we talked about Uber drivers or people that have an Airbnb, they don't have a pay slip anymore. So there need to be innovation when it comes to how to finance things. There are going to be innovations when it comes to how people are shopping. We're talking about innovations when it comes to how people are insured. We're seeing now the new technology being applied with where they track your driving. And it goes even one step further. I mean, if you then talk about electrification, you need to talk about the network of electric plug points. Now, obviously, you need to develop new payment systems because you need to have new booking systems. You have to have new. Then what's happening to companies that are in the aftermarket? So basically, the electric vehicles don't have oil anymore. So
what happens to the oil industry?
What happens to the oil industry? What happens? But there will be a lot of new industries going to developing, because suddenly you have need for different kind of things. So this is really our goal, to develop this Tech Talks, and it's incubated this year, but we want to be the platform in the country, together with AutoTrader, that talks about those topics. And this year is only the start. And I think this area is going to grow when this transformation really happens over the next couple of years.
Well, who knows? In 10 years' time, the festival might be more based around electric vehicles, and you'll have a smaller segment on the petrol cars of old going. That's how we used to drive.
Used to do
exactly,
it. Yeah. But I mean, Constantine's absolutely right. If you look at finance today, and the way vehicles are financed, the point of sale and the moment of truth and where all the paperwork is done still happens inside the dealership.
Correct.
And that hasn't moved online. Banks have tried, but I think it takes more than just the banks to move that transaction online. Banks have the ability to get consumers to apply for finance online, but it hasn't tied all of the rest of the industry together. And I think it takes a whole lot of players in order to get just that one little element right.
And what is your take for on the event? And for someone who hasn't been, what would you say to them about the festival?
I always judge a show or a festival not by one event, but by how it progresses. And this one is going to be better than last year's one, and I think that for me is the test. And if I look at what Mesa Frankfurt has done, there's testament and history to really. For me to confidently say, I think this is going to be the best show yet.
Absolutely.
And then bringing in the electrification, bringing in all of the petrol head stuff, all of the the roaring engines, and all of the new things that they bring into the show. I think it can very well be stamped with best show yet.
And tell me, as a brand that operates in the digital sphere, how important is it for AutoTrader to have a tangible experience with kind of showgoers?
I think it's vital. One of the things we lost when we shut the magazine about a year and a half ago was we lost that tangibility. We lost that real, offline experience with the brand. So for us, partnering with Mesa Frankfurt brings that tangibility back to the brand. We can interact with consumers. We can physically have them in our space. Whereas in the virtual world on the internet, it's really difficult to interact with consumers. So it gives us that ability to talk directly face to face with our customers.
George, AutoTrader as an organization or as a business is clearly a market leader and have been for a number of years. Your transition from print to digital, there's clearly been a success because the business is doing better than ever. The brand is out there. What is it about AutoTrader as a brand? Where's the company going? What's happening? What's happening with AutoTrader?
Well, to comment on your first question. AutoTrader is a 25-year-old brand in South Africa, which gives it a long legacy. It was a print business and now is a digital business. And in the digital world, we are 20 times bigger than we ever were in print. To give you some numbers, we used to sell just over 120,000 magazines a month back in back in the days of print. And now we get about 5.5 million visits a month to our platforms, and we offer over 70,000 cars for sale at any one time. Whereas back in the days of print, we could advertise maybe 8,000 to 10,000 cars. So we are fortunately much bigger than we were before, and that's testament to a successful transition from a print business to a digital business. But I think the thing for me is that because we've become a digital business, we've lost that offline touch and feel with the magazine, and where I said just now, consumers used to visit 4, 5, 6 dealerships when shopping for a car before buying. They now visit maybe 1 or 2, and the SA Festival of Motoring is a perfect place to come and drive 5 or 6 cars. You can do that all in one shot, instead of having to go from dealer to dealer, which at this particular moment in time gives you the opportunity to come and do.
So the user can actually do all of their research online, look at what cars are available, and actually come to the show and, like you say, test drive 5, 6, 10, depending on how much time you've got.
And then to address your other question, which is what is the future of AutoTrader, the consumer by and large sees AutoTrader as a consumer-facing brand. I come to AutoTrader to search for a car, and we build the business for the consumer. But not only for the consumer, we also build the business for the other side of the market, which is the selling side. And our job is to bring that buyer and seller together in the most efficient, quickest, easiest way possible. And now that we're backed by one of the biggest tech companies globally, we have the perfect future ahead of us. And our job is, in the future, is not just to be a commoditized classified website. We want to be involved in the industry. We want to make sure that we help drive the industry forward, and not only on the buyer side but also on the seller side. And that is part of the reason we also partnered with SA Festival of Motoring.
Well, and then that's testament to things like your sponsorship of the Tech Zone and obviously the Tech Talks, where these conversations are going to happen.
Yeah.
So, gents, thanks very much for joining us in studio today. It's been great having you both.
Cheers. Thank you.